Barbara Billingsley was born Barbara Lillian Combs on December 22, 1915, in Los Angeles, California, during a time of economic uncertainty and social change. Raised primarily by her mother after her parents' divorce, Barbara grew up during the Great Depression, learning resilience at a young age. Financial hardship never diminished her curiosity or discipline, and she developed a strong appreciation for education, culture, and self-reliance. She attended Los Angeles Junior College and later studied drama at the University of Southern California, where she refined her performance skills. Determined to succeed, she moved to New York City to pursue acting opportunities, supporting herself through modeling and commercial work. These early struggles shaped Barbara's professionalism and sense of responsibility, qualities that would later define her career. From the beginning, she approached acting not as fantasy, but as serious work requiring preparation, consistency, and dignity. Building a career before television fame. Barbara Billingsley's acting career began in the 1940s with a series of small but meaningful film roles that allowed her to learn the industry from the ground up. She appeared in modest studio productions and supporting roles, gradually building experience rather than instant fame. Films such as Three Guys Named Mike and The Bad and the Beautiful offered her exposure to professional film sets and seasoned actors. Although these roles rarely placed her in the spotlight, they strengthened her discipline and adaptability. Barbara understood that longevity required patience, and she embraced steady work over fleeting attention. During this period, Hollywood was highly competitive, particularly for women, and typecasting was common. Still, Barbara persisted, refining a calm, composed screen presence that made her memorable, even in brief appearances. This slow, deliberate climb prepared her for the role that would eventually make her a household name. Becoming June Cleaver and a cultural symbol. In 1957, Barbara Billingsley was cast as June Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver, a role that would define her legacy in American television history. As the gracious, thoughtful mother of two young boys, she embodied warmth, patience, and moral clarity. The show reflected an idealized vision of mid-century family life, and Barbara's performance grounded it in sincerity rather than exaggeration. While the character later became a cultural reference point for perfection, Barbara played June with subtle authority and emotional intelligence. Even wardrobe choices, such as pearls and heels, were practical decisions rather than vanity. Beneath the polished exterior, she portrayed a woman who listened carefully, guided gently, and maintained balance within the household. The role resonated deeply with audiences, turning Barbara into a symbol of maternal steadiness during a rapidly changing cultural era. Professionalism. Behind the scenes. Behind the camera, Barbara Billingsley was known for her discipline, punctuality, and respect for the craft of television production. She approached Leave It to Beaver as a job that required consistency and cooperation, especially given the young cast members involved. Working with child actors demanded patience, structure, and clear boundaries, and Barbara took that responsibility seriously. She believed professionalism set the tone for the entire set. As a seasoned actress by the time the show aired, she carried expectations shaped by years of studio experience. This occasionally created tension, not from hostility, but from differing work habits and generational perspectives. Barbara valued focus and preparation, while younger performers naturally brought spontaneity and energy. These differences were common in long-running productions and reflected contrasting approaches rather than personal animosity. Her priority was always maintaining quality and stability for the show. Life after Leave It to Beaver. When Leave It to Beaver ended in 1963, Barbara Billingsley chose to step back from the spotlight and focus on her personal life. She devoted herself to raising her sons and maintaining a sense of normalcy away from Hollywood's constant demands. Unlike many performers who struggled with fading visibility, Barbara embraced privacy with confidence. In later years, she returned selectively to acting, most notably with her comedic role in Airplane in 1980, where she playfully subverted her wholesome image. The performance revealed her sharp sense of humor and willingness to evolve. She later reprised June Cleaver in reunion projects, portraying an older, wiser version of the character. These appearances connected generations of viewers and reinforced her place in television history without diminishing her dignity or personal boundaries. Marriage, loss, and personal strength. Barbara Billingsley's personal life was marked by love, loss, and resilience. She married 3 times, each relationship reflecting a different chapter of her life. Her first marriage to restaurateur Glenn Billingsley produced 2 sons, whom she deeply cherished. After their divorce, she later married director Roy Colino, whose sudden passing left her widowed and emotionally shaken. Despite grief, Barbara continued forward with remarkable strength, soon receiving the script that would become Leave It to Beaver. Her third marriage to businessman William Mortensen provided long-term companionship and stability during her most recognized years. Throughout her life, Barbara balanced personal sorrow with public responsibility, never allowing hardship to define her identity. Family remained central to her sense of fulfillment, and those close to her often described her as private, loyal, and quietly strong. Navigating cast dynamics with grace. Like any long-running television series, Leave It to Beaver involved complex cast relationships shaped by time, pressure, and changing circumstances. Barbara Billingsley understood that on-screen harmony did not always mirror behind-the-scenes realities. As years passed, working with a young cast that was growing and evolving brought natural challenges. Barbara's expectations were rooted in professionalism and structure, while child actors experienced fame differently. Rather than conflict, these moments reflected generational differences in maturity and responsibility. Barbara rarely spoke publicly about such matters, choosing discretion over drama. Her approach emphasized preserving the integrity of the show rather than personal grievances. Any strain that existed was handled privately and professionally. This restraint contributed to her enduring reputation as someone who valued respect, boundaries, and emotional restraint over public confrontation. Public image versus private reflection. Barbara Billingsley was acutely aware of how strongly audiences associated her with June Cleaver. While grateful for the affection, she also recognized the limitations of typecasting. Privately, she reflected on how one defining role could both elevate and confine an actor's career. Still, she never rejected the character outright, understanding the comfort it provided to millions. Barbara chose to separate personal reflection from public image, maintaining a gracious demeanor even when discussing challenges. She believed that actors carried responsibility not only to themselves, but to audiences who found meaning in their work. This awareness guided how she spoke about her career, her colleagues, and her past. Rather than revisiting old tensions, she focused on gratitude, perspective, and the lasting impact of storytelling done with sincerity. Final years and lasting legacy. In her later years, Barbara Billingsley lived quietly in Santa Monica, California, surrounded by friends and family. She stepped away from public appearances, content with a life of reflection rather than recognition. When she passed away on October 16, 2010, at the age of 94, tributes poured in from fans and historians alike. She was remembered not only as an iconic television mother, but as a symbol of calm authority, intelligence, and kindness. Barbara never sought to dominate the spotlight, yet her influence endured through decades of reruns and cultural references. Her portrayal of June Cleaver helped shape how motherhood was depicted on television, offering a model rooted in patience and wisdom rather than perfection. Her legacy remains one of professionalism, dignity, and emotional balance. Remembering Barbara Billingsley. With nuance. Barbara Billingsley's story is best understood through nuance rather than nostalgia alone. She was a working actress, a mother, a widow, and a woman navigating an industry that often demanded compromise. While audiences remember her as television's ideal mom, those who knew her recognized a thoughtful professional who valued boundaries and respect. Any tensions from her career were not driven by bitterness, but by high standards and a desire for excellence. She chose grace over confrontation and privacy over spectacle. In doing so, Barbara preserved both her integrity and her legacy. Today, she is remembered not for controversy, but for consistency, warmth, and quiet strength. Her life reminds us that behind every beloved character is a complex human story, shaped by discipline, resilience, and enduring self-respect.